So I made a video a couple days ago acknowledging and talking about the initial lawsuit that was put out by Nintendo against Pocket Pair, the company that has made Palworld. So I'm going to quickly go over it just to summarize my previous video, because when I first made that video, it was just about the fact that this lawsuit has come out. But at that time, I didn't know the full details, and the full details hadn't really come out about exactly what this lawsuit had entailed. Nintendo filed a lawsuit against Pocket Pair, which is the company that made Palworld, suing them for patent rights. Now, at the time, like I said, we didn't know to what extent this lawsuit actually entailed. All we knew that it was patent infringement. And by patent infringement, if you don't really know what that means, it means some kind of game mechanic that works within the game. But like I said, at the time when this first got all released and when I first made my video, there wasn't really that much information on the internet about exactly what part of the game mechanics was actually known and what Nintendo was specifically suing Palworld over. So I left it open up. But either way, my conception of this was that it was absolute bullshit. No matter what the game mechanic was, no matter what they were suing him over, to me it was absolute bullcrap. Because I think that Palworld was just coming along. It was this company from Pocket Pair who was just like, hey, we really like Pokemon, but we want to take it to another level. We want to make a game that we feel like is similar to Pokemon because it deserves to have competitors, because there's so many games out there that, yes, they might be the same to each other, but it's good to have a variety in a certain game genre. And I was like, yes, Palworld deserves to be in this environment. 100%. There can't be just this monopoly over the capture animals genre, or whatever the kind of genre that Pokemon is called. I don't really know exactly what genre it's called, the catching mechanics or whatever the hell it may be, but it has now officially come out, and it started to make its ways around the internet over the last day about what exact game mechanic, what patent it is that Nintendo is actually suing Palworld over, and you won't believe about how scummy this actually gets. So I saw this tweet that was posted by this guy For Strategy, and this is the actual patent that Nintendo is suing Palworld over. This is an actual official image that was put within the Nintendo and the Pokemon patent. So right here, they are pretty much suing Palworld for how you capture monsters within the games. So the game mechanic is that you have to get within Pokemon and Palworld, it's easier to capture a monster or Pokemon or whatever it's called, no matter what the game is, you have to lower their health, and specifically lowering their health makes it easier to catch, and also not just lowering their health, but also the specific item that you are using makes it easier to catch them as well. And also the way that they fly, or the way that they walk, and having to aim and to throw the ball. So that action of capturing a monster within a game is the patent that Nintendo is suing Palworld over. Now, this, to me, is such a stretch for multiple reasons. I've watched several videos about this patent and other people talking about it, so I can really get my own perception of this and really understand about how bullcrap this is. Now, one of the reasons why that this is absolute bullshit, before I get into even more reasons, that even if I think you are on Nintendo's side, which if you are, you just need to hop off Nintendo's dick, I'm just going to say it here and there. But one of the reasons why this is bullshit is because this isn't even just a game-specific thing. To me, one, this is very broad. It's such a broad and generic game mechanic to, really game patent and actually make a law and copyright over. It is such a broad type of game mechanic to patent that, to me, to, go ahead and to put a patent on this and to actually make it copyrighted, to me, will just hinder the whole entire gaming industry altogether. Also, is that this is kind of related to real life. This is how real life works. If you're hunting, the specific item that you are using makes it easier to capture whatever animal you're hunting. Also, the weaker you make the animal, the easier it is to hunt. That's how hunting in real life works. That's not even a game mechanic. That's a real life mechanic. If you're out hunting a deer, the smaller the deer is, the weaker it is, the easier it is to capture. When you go ahead and you weaken that deer, it's easier to capture. If you are using more sophisticated gear, like a hunting rifle compared to a knife, if you're using a knife, it's harder to capture. If you're using a rifle, it's easier to capture. So this right here isn't even a game mechanic. This specifically is a real life thing. So they're trying to patent a real life mechanic. And not just that, but also I saw this making its way around on Twitter, where this is the specific game mechanic that Nintendo filed. That's right, this hasn't even been around for that long. They only patented this mechanic months after Palworld came out. It's like they looked at Palworld, looked at what they could sue them over because they were so jealous about how bad their games are and how well Palworld was doing that they were like, we can't find anything good enough to actually sue Palworld over. So what we're going to do is that we are going to create a patent now in May. And they did. They actually made this patent and it got published in August, the 22nd of August of this year. That's right, they filed it only in May, and then it got published in August, and now they are using that copyrighted patent to sue Palworld over. It's not like this patent was something that's been around for years, which, like I said, is some bullshit patent to have in the first place because of how generic it is and how badly it holds back like inspiration and also like the evolution of video games. That like they were like, Palworld's doing so much better than us, it's evolving this genre that we've had a monopoly over. The fact that we have been shitting out trash and our audience has been eating it up because they are absolute eaters. That's right, if you were a Pokemon fanboy and you were defending Pokemon this entire time because you were like, no, only Pokemon can have a monopoly over this game. No, Scarlet and Violet was actually a good game. You're a shit eater, all right? You've been eating shit, and that's fine if you like eating shit, but don't try to convince the rest of us that it's chocolate. Just sit in the corner, eat shit while we eat our delicious chocolate, which is Palworld. And if there is always, it's never good, any game or any company to have a monopoly over some specific type of part in the gaming industry, because this is what happens. You get companies like Nintendo who get so greedy, put out a patent to sue another company that's doing so much better than them. They got jealous. They got so jealous that they had to make a patent out of this. And this to me is so bad. If this goes through, if Nintendo wins this lawsuit, which I hope it does, to me, copywriting patents is the most bullshit thing. Like, yeah, it may be a law, but just because something is the law doesn't mean I can call against it. Doesn't mean I can call it bullshit. It's the exact same with squatting that goes on in America. We don't have squatting here in Australia, and some states in America have squatting, specifically LA, and I've seen so many videos and so many instances about squatting, and you can say like, oh, but it's the law. Just because it's a law doesn't mean it's good. There are laws out there to keep people and to keep the world from like going into chaos, and laws are needed, but there are also laws that hinder us from going further, and this is one of them. And you might be like, oh, Donnie, why is it that this is such a bad thing to have? If a company wants to go ahead and patent something in a game, they should be allowed to do it. No. You want to know why they shouldn't be allowed to do it? Because then there will be no innovation in gaming. Then if Nintendo ends up winning this lawsuit, there will be encouragement from that's right, other game companies will look at Nintendo and go, hey, if Nintendo can do this, we can do this too. And you will see so many other companies start to patent certain broad game mechanics that then they will stop innovation within the gaming industry. It will stop so many different indie games from being able to build up and make amazing games, or stop other gaming companies who want to capitalize on such a good game mechanic that they cannot do this anymore. One of the greatest examples of this is the Nemesis system from the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor games. This, to me, is one of the greatest game mechanics that has ever been made. It is a very complicated game mechanic, but it is also one that could innovate gaming to the next level. And if you don't know what the Nemesis system is, the way that it works, I can't remember it in detail. I haven't played Shadow of War in many years, but specifically, it's the way that you encounter certain enemies in the game, that, or if they kill you, or you kill them, or you kill like other enemies underneath them, or if you kill like this big boss guy and then someone else will take his place and he will become stronger, or if he kills you, he becomes stronger, or if you help him to kill like one of his rivals and he takes his rival's place. It's basically a way for like pretty much real life hierarchy. And the way that it was made, it's what made the games so good. But Warner Brothers themselves actually patented this game mechanic, and no one else is allowed to use this. And because of this, like, imagine if the Nemesis system was allowed to be used by other game developers, from indie to AAA games. Imagine the type of games that we would have that could be revolved around this Nemesis system. Imagine the amount of open world games that we could have that have this Nemesis system that could just take them from being really good games to like the absolute next level. And this is what would happen with this patented system with Nintendo, because it is such, to me, a broad pattern. Like, it is not as detailed as the Nemesis system is. This is such a broad thing. Getting an enemy to low health, throwing an object at it to capture it, and you're going to patent that. And if Nintendo wins this lawsuit, like I said, it's going to stop it's going to make so many other publishers and so many other big game development companies that are going to start patenting their game mechanics that they have supposedly think they've made. Because I reckon there are so many other games out there that, like, maybe even before Nintendo or before Pokemon, that had this kind of system. Like, this kind of system has been around for so long. So many different games would have this system without a doubt. But all of a sudden, Palworld becomes this big, and it's just so similar that Nintendo want to try and find a specific thing to sue Palworld over, so they make this patent. How scummy are you? Are you serious? This, to me, like, when I found out that this was specifically the thing that Nintendo was suing Palworld over, I was just like, this is absolute bullshit. And this, to me, is worse than anything. Like, if Nintendo was suing Palworld over the game design, like the character designs, you would still be like, you know what, Nintendo, you need to calm your farm. But it's just like, whatever. Okay, it's not that. But this, to me, is worse. This, to me, is like a million times worse than we all initially thought. And if you're on Nintendo's calling me a pal simp, you need to hop off. Stop writing it, because if you keep writing Nintendo's and they win this, guess what? We're going to get another 10 years of this. Another 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years of this bullshit. Do you really want that? Do you really want our games to hit a wall? Is that what you want? No. We want innovation in this industry, because I feel like we're on the cusp of getting into a new golden age of gaming with everything that's been going on. And this patent will ruin it. Will ruin everything. It will ruin innovation. It will ruin the gaming industry for as we know it, because it will just be a domino effect. So I hope, for the sake of the gaming industry, that Nintendo does not win this lawsuit. They do not deserve to win this lawsuit, because they have been so selfish and up themselves for decades now, that they do not deserve this win whatsoever. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys think about this down below. I am extremely passionate about this because I love the gaming industry, and this, to me, is absolute bullshit. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys have to think about all of this down below. That's going to be it from me. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.